Let's start with the holding the elbows behind the back. And just moving the head. Keeping the hands holding the elbows and trying to keep the spine as straight as you can for as long as you can. Just incline forwards. So there's a sense that you're leading with the chin to keep the spine stretching. And then to get further down, you can just let the back go, let the head drop down. And then back up. Turning towards one of the knees and inclining over the leg. As you let the head down, feel the lower back stretching. And then to come back up, it's like you clench the buttocks. So you squeeze, squeeze, and slowly come up. And then turning to the other knee. And then squeezing the buttocks to start the coming up. And then the other knee. And up. And the other knee again. Done. And then one more, just straight forwards. And now let's just do a few gripping into the Danchen. So tightening the muscles, feeling the Danchen as a ring muscle. So the thing about ring muscles is that when you work one of them in the body, eventually all the others want to join in. So as I tighten my belly here, it's like my anus, my urethra, eyes, nostrils, everything's clenching, and then everything pushes open. I just feel that a gathering in the Danchen, feet and the hands all gathered into that place. And then just bring the attention to this headspace. So as you breathe, just imagine that your nostrils are widening to help more air come in. So there's a sense of expanding here as you breathe in, and then a sense of sinking down to the Danchen where the hands are as you breathe out. So there's an expanding. So it feels like the face is widening, the eyes are getting further apart, your nostrils are flaring almost. And then everything drops down. So let's just do 3 or 4 breaths like that. Just try and make them long. So breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. in and out. So now let's do a simple Qigong. We need the hands at the side. I mean, you'd normally do this standing up, but we can start now. So you're just coordinating arm movements with the breath. Keep the arms straight. So I breathe the arms up. So breathing in. And then breathing out and bringing the hands round to the front, just keeping them straight. Then breathing in again and bringing the hands up over the head. And then breathing out and letting the hands slowly drop down. So that's the sequence. So let's just do 3 or 4 of those. So breathing in, out, in, out. Feel as though it's the arm movements that's responsible for bringing the air in or out rather than the diaphragm. So I lift it like one of those water pumps. You pump the handle and the water squirts out. So here's the hands coming up that suck the air in, and the hands coming together that force the air out. And then just back to prayer. And now let's try a few of the reaching, starting by reaching up. The spirit lifts and the hand has to follow. So the hand rising is an indication of your brightening spirit. You're reaching forwards. View to the side, really twisting. And this one, as we reach the side, turn it into that strong stretch. So let the back hand slip behind, the front hand drop down onto the opposite knee, and just hold it. You're trying to work around a bit more, but you won't go far. Just relax into it. So every time you breathe out, just think of the shoulders dropping and the muscles relaxing. And the other side, ease out of it slowly. Just trying to get the head and the eyes as far around as you can. And the other side again. And the other side. and then back to the front. Now let's try a little bit with the stick. Just trying to work on that part of the spine that you feel is problematic. It varies on people. Like we're trying to just change the shape of the spine, just trying to make it clear, clean, and straight. So there's a kink normally where an aspect of your spirit has just sort of collapsed, chronically collapsed. That vertebra needs to be worked in, and then the heart will lift. Behind the neck. And then just turning. Tipping. Imagine something rolling down the stick. up above the head. And now let's try the one where we go behind the back. Let's first come down to the front and then up. So really straightening the back and pulling the shoulders together. Good. Now let's pull and push the stick. And just keep everything relaxed. So you're pulling the hands apart. But at the same time, we're trying to relax around that. Similar to when we use the legs, we try and relax them at the same time, so that only those muscles that are absolutely necessary are working. Remember, we're using a gentle force to generate energy rather than move something. And then reverse and push the hands towards each other. And pulling again. And pushing. Okay, good. Hands up and out, one hand over, and turning the head and the arms. Bring the hands in, keeping them figure of eighting. And so we're just gyrating with the figure of eight. Keep the head moving, spine tipping and turning and twisting, doing its thing. And just bring a bit of attention to the tail, as though the tail is doing something similar on a much smaller scale, of course. And then winding it down slowly. And just bringing it down to the Dan Chen. So eventually it's a tiny little yin yang symbol, the Dan Chen, that's constantly gyrating. Okay, so let's just finish these with another little qigong. The arms come up to the front, so it's just a different order than last time. Out to the side and then up over the head and then down, but the breathing is different. So it's the first three movements are three in breaths and then followed by one long out breath. And each of the three in breaths, the first one you imagine breathing into the belly, the second one into the heart, and the third one into the head. So it's just like little suck, suck, suck. So let's try it. Bringing the hands up, breathing into the dantian. Bringing the hands out. So this one naturally will stretch the chest and bring air into the chest. And then bringing the hands up over the head, filling with air as though you're breathing right up to that head point And then slowly you breathe out, and the energy just descends from the head point all the way down to the dantian. Breathing in to the belly, breathing into the chest, breathing up into the head, and slowly out. For the first three arm movements, we breathe in on all of them. So breathing into the belly, breathing into the heart, breathing into the head, and then slow out breath, letting the energy descend all the way down to the dantian. So breathing into the belly, heart, head, and down. So feeling that the whole body is filling with breath, and it sort of happens naturally if you just relax and use the arms to suck the air in. And then one more. Great. extend the arms above the head, and then extending down as you incline. Try to keep the stretch going. Opening the feet a little so you can sit a bit deeper. And again into the fetus. And up. And now just lying back and cycling. But you know when we do the 2-circle exercise, and we're trying to get space here in the inside of the shoulder, we're trying to do the same thing with the legs here. We're trying to get openness and space in the groin. So that's what we're going for when we cycle. It's very much like you're reaching out with the foot in order to draw something in. Wind it down. Push the big toes down. That's like an anchor point, a bit like minding down Chen and tongue on the roof of the mouth. So the spring in the legs, but also each time you go down, it's like this swells open a bit. So relaxing across the sacrum. So just feel this space opening up between the legs. So it's very much these folds here that relax, release. It feels like if you put your fingers in, you could actually just bend down and the fingers would just be sucked right into the joint. The opposite of the way most people are, because most people are pulling their tummy in and straightening their legs. So there's like a barrier of muscle here. Just trying to really release that, because it's that barrier there. It's strange. It's that sucks you in and keeps you always at a distance from what's in front of you. So when we release here, it's like suddenly I'm just there. There's no space between me and what's in front of me. So just like a real immediacy, a real presence. And most of the time, we're just trying to keep like a critical distance between us and the thing that's in front of us so that we can make opinions and judgments about it before we actually engage it. And we just want to let all of that go. So the thing in front of you gets flooded by your presence and your interest. When you meet someone that doesn't have much of an ego, their presence is quite overwhelming because it's just so intense and immediate and demanding. So as it relaxes across here, you'll find yourself slipping more and more into the outside edge of the foot, and then pushing down with the big toes becomes more important. And then alternating, feeling it tend to turn you a little bit and move you side to side. It's like your mind is trying to keep your spine in the middle, but your body's got different ideas. It's pulling you and turning you. Let the turns get stronger. So you're really turning. And then let the arms start wrapping around. And it just becomes the first warm-up exercise. Try and feel those two components that we worked on last time, the turning and the twisting. So when I come back to the front, I'm sort of turning. So when I'm turning from the legs. And when I twist, I'm twisting from the shoulders and the head. So as I turn, I'm sinking down. And then as I go past the front, once I can't turn anymore, I just let the shoulders continue, and that will bring the energy up. So just feeling that. So the energy sinks as I turn back to the front, and then it rises as I twist around. So we don't want the twisting to pull us out of the legs. This is what we're sort of looking at. You know, when old people have a fall, they often say it happened because they turned suddenly. But it's not, it's because they twisted suddenly. They suddenly turned their head. And because their legs weren't actually anchoring them on the ground, they toppled. So we want this feeling that we can twist, let the spirit really rise in interest, but my legs keep the ground. Then let's slip into the second one. But we never really do this in Tai Chi. We never really slip into the back foot unless we want to let the energy out the front hand. Let's try the third one now, because this is more like Tai Chi. So I'm sinking into the back foot, but I'm releasing something from the hand. So I'm letting my energy out. Let's try this one. Trying to use the legs to go down rather than inclining the spine too much. And then changing direction. And then just wind it down. Into riding horse, just feeling the streaming down the body and the release across the sacrum, the relaxation here. So when these relax, it's almost a sense that you're sticking your tail backwards a little bit. Feel this. The sense that the thigh is rolling this way down to the knee, that the shin is rolling the other way. So the toes are trying to pull in, but the knees are trying to go out. So there's quite a lot of torque in the knees. So we have to be careful. And then let's just go down and put the elbows on the knees. You still want a sense that you can look forwards. And they're going even deeper, so the hands are on the floor. And then back up to elbows on the knees. Good. And then hands on the knees. And then back up to riding horse. So it's this roll here. So with my students, I've just taken to pulling their legs open like this, which they find a bit alarming. And now let's come onto the toes. So just pulling the heels off the ground, letting the elbows drop and the hands face outwards. So this is where letting the tail out a little bit is really important. So when the tail goes out, it's almost like you want to come down onto all fours, become an animal. So there's that sort of wild fierceness. And then heels down one at a time. So 1, 2. And let's just do a few breaths, slow breaths. So we've come back to earth energy, slow, long energy. And then onto the toes again. And then back down to the heels. 1, 2, and a few breathing. And heels off the ground again. and back down, but now slipping into the two-circle exercise. Feel the arm reaching around someone's waist and pulling them in. As the hand starts reaching, feel the shoulder blade trying to drift down the arm, but also feel the hip bone trying to separate from the sacroiliac and drift down the leg. I want the feeling that I'm releasing the sacroiliac rather than simply the hip. With that, of course, I really have to be secure and comfortable in the weighted leg. And then back to riding horse, feeling the streaming down the body. Let's try a little bit of the circuit. So as you go down the spine, just something in you lets go. It's this letting go, the sacroiliac's letting go to allow the energy to pass down the legs. And now just a few sinking into the leg and bouncing out. Feel the bounce, the return. Feel the spirit brightening as it rises, taking you with it. Sink and relax, something spreading, and then from within that, there's this core of energy that's rising up, and I catch it. Part of me is just completely letting go, almost like I want to collapse on the ground, and then I notice this. It's almost like a vector, it's almost just an arrow pointing upwards. Okay, so let's bring it to riding horse again. So again, opening here. So Thich Nhat Hanh used to have this recommendation. He used to say once a month, spend a whole day completely on your own. So no company, no electronics, no books, no music, just you. And if you think about that, we never really do that in a whole life. never actually spend a whole day on our own. And the reason people would find that impossible, and why they find meditation impossible, is because they cannot be with themselves. They don't like themselves, basically. They're not content just to be inside, gazing out at the world. They need entertainment. They need something to distract them from themselves. And that's why we talk to ourselves in the head. That's just this constant entertainment that's there because it's just too much for us just to be in the body. So this is what we're trying to do really, is just get to a point where we're just happy just being here inside the body without hankering after distraction. We don't like ourselves. We haven't learned to love ourselves. You especially see that here in Israel, because Israel is built on the Holocaust, really. And so the whole country is saturated in survivor guilt. They find now that that is just passed on almost intact to the next generation. So everyone is sort of suffering from it. And it just means they just can't be with themselves because there's almost like this nagging that's going on saying, oh, you don't really deserve to be alive. You don't deserve this. It's a bit like original sin. There's like a memory of some terrible thing that we've done. When I was a kid, I used to have these nightmares that I'd actually killed someone and hadn't hidden the body very well. So I was going to get caught. Real sort of anxiety, guilt trip, which is really at the root of all of us. It's probably because we all descend from people that displaced an indigenous population. And it's just being passed down from generation to generation. So something in us just really has to come to peace with the body and with the earth. Okay, now let's try the one where we go backwards and forwards, so the bending the leg to move. So straightening it first and then bending it. Remember, when I bend the knee, I'm not just bending it upon this plane, the plane of the joint. I'm trying to get the knee to move out perpendicular to that plane. So the knee is trying to move out there, and then that will release here and get my sacrum to drop down. And with the back knee, it's trying to pull out towards the back corner. Releases out. And so it's this openness in the groin that we're looking for much of the time. Again, it's this roll in the leg. The knee is trying to roll outwards. And the same with this one. Feel the spirit in the knee. Yeah, so we just have to be really careful that what sparks the movement is the spirit and not my willful mind. Something here is light and wants to escape, and it takes me with it. It's so easy to get everything wrong by using the ego. So this escapes. And then this way. And this is why Tai Chi is couched as a martial art, because if you're fighting someone and you use your mind or your will or your ego, it's just going to get you killed because it's so slow and heavy. So you just have to let yourself go and just become spontaneous. And then what comes out of you surprises you more than anyone. So something releases and hey. Okay, let's try a little bit with the other foot. So as you continue with an exercise, it gets softer and it gets lighter. So this sense of melting down and this sense of something evaporating up from your body. And sometimes it just, nothing seems to happen. And if that's the case, just go inside, just go down into your belly. Feel the cavity of your body, the cave, the cavern of your body. And don't worry about it. It's at that point where you're just about to give up hope. That's when grace enters the situation. Now let's try this one. the playfulness that is turning. The heels off the ground all the time. And just let it become a sort of wobbly figure of eight exercise. And just same thing, but just a little bit wider. Feel the sacrum hanging heavily. The keel of the sacrum. It's that stabilizes you. Let's just go into the slow jog. Like you're jogging in water, so it's slow. It can't go quickly. Try and stay off the heels. And now just lifting a leg. But remember, I want to get this hip joint here really loose before I put the weight in the leg. So I'm going to bring the weight into this right foot, but first I want to just really loosen here. So I'm sinking into this leg and just letting everything make a circle really. The knee makes a circle and the hip gets drawn round into it. And then at some point I'll put the heel down and use that circling to pull this open. So my weight moves into the foot late, and then I can pick this foot up. I'm just trying to keep the groin, a sense of openness here whilst my weight is in the foot. So I really have to feel that path down the outside edge. So jumping across from the sacrum into the hip and then down like this. And then this one. So again, just circling. So as you get into it, it just gets looser and looser with each pass. Feeling the release from the sacroiliac. Across the back of the hip, down the outside of the leg. Remember, the energy goes down the back of the leg and the outside of it, and up the front and the inside. So first just circling, ooh, and then ooh. Just want to feel this almost being ripped open. Same thing, but just trying to pull the heel right up and into the groin. So the foot is just pushing this leg out, so really opening that point in the groin. You're like throwing a lasso. Let's just squat for a few seconds. feel the proximity of the ground helping the mind quieten. And then let's sit on the ground, spread the legs. And now we're even closer. And so now it's really helping. Then back into the squat. Up. So riding forward. So let's try just the flooding down the body, but one arm at a time. So it's basically the two circles, but on the vertical plane. So gravity. So when we do one arm at a time, if anything, it's easier to feel. Feel it jumping across each joint, sacroiliac, hip, and down the legs. just into riding horse. Feel the sacrum really dominant, hanging down. And then bringing the feet up. Don't straighten the legs. Keep them a little bent, so you always with this sense of flowing down the body. Big toes pushing down, almost trying to pierce the ground. Mind in the down chin, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And then just feel the breathing. So coming in the nostrils, they open up as the air comes in. And then as you breathe out, a sense that the energy is sinking down to the down chin. Feel this point lifting. Feel the eyes softening and sinking into the back of the head. And then that will stimulate this region to issue energy, which you can use the mind to bring around. Always this feeling that there's a bit of space opening up here. So that pushing the big toes down will help that. And always this sense of turning, this playful interaction between the two sides of the body.